Alright, so today, finally, I'm doing a Paris baguette video. Been wanting to do this for years and years. I don't know why I haven't done it yet, but we're doing it today. One thing that blew my mind when I first came here 10 years ago, or over 10 years ago, was how many bakeries there are over here. It's insane. There's big chains like Paris Baguette. I think there's over 3,000 locations, well over 3,000 locations in the country and other countries as well. It's expanding out. Actually, they have a place in Paris, actually, which is insane. And there's some in the States and other countries. But there's also a bunch of old school little neighborhood bakeries, and they're all selling things that when I walked in, I didn't know what any of this stuff was. It was all foreign to me. Because when I think of bread, I'm thinking of classic white bread, wheat bread, rye bread, you know, stuff like that. I used to work at a bakery, so I know my bread, all right? But this is all completely new and different and classic Korean style bread. And yes, all of this stuff is considered bread, believe it or not. So right off the bat, we have a twisted donut. Actually, I went here, picked this up in person with Ring Lady, and she helped me. Basically, she picked out all the classics. So all this stuff is picked out from a true Korean. Right here, we have a rolled sausage donut. That's what they're calling that. This is she translated this with chewy and nutty, unforgettable sesame bread. I've never had this. I've never had this. I have had this. And oh, best believe I've had this. This is like old school sausage bread or pizza bread. You can kind of call it either one. Really strange, this one. You have a croquette. There's some kind of meat filling in there. I think it's actually japchae, which is a Korean. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, gogi japchae. It's like meat noodle dish type of deal that's stuffed into this croquette. We have red bean paste inside of this bread, which is a classic. Very classic Korean thing. This is a Korean Strucel bread. And I have this baguette, which is not that good. It's hard as a rock. They're called Paris Baguette, but every time I go to Paris Baguette, they're out of baguettes, and if they do have them, there's something off about them. But I just had to cop this. For ABM, actually. I wasn't really gonna get this, but ABM said I should get it. Let's just go down the line. Oh, by the way, all this stuff came out to $15. So not bad. I'm just gonna go down the line. No rhyme or reason. We're starting off with this twisted donut. Very light. I love the shape of it. And I believe there's also cinnamon going in. Yeah, of course. You can't really go wrong with that. It does kind of have that Asian style donut vibe to it, but you wouldn't dislike this. I mean, it's not that foreign or not that strange to you. It's definitely is different. It's got more chew than maybe a traditional donut you'd find in America or something, but the flavor is just right on point. I mean, it's fried dough, you know what I mean? So off to a good start. I don't think I've ever had that, like I said, and I like it. Next up, this right here is they're calling it the sausage donut. Maybe you can see it's super flaky and it's got some kind of sauce on top, maybe some mustard and maybe some catsup or something. There's a sausage poking out both ends. I actually like this a lot. I've been eating this a lot lately. But I've never really seen anything quite like it anywhere else. You will find a lot of bread that involves some kind of sausage in it at Korean bakeries. All this stuff you can probably find at every Korean bakery, or most of them. And yeah, they love putting sausages in bread. Hint of sweetness. Which is not my favorite part about it. But it's really hard to avoid. You know, I think I saw like a TikTok or something. I'm not on TikTok, but somehow it reached me. I saw a TikTok, or maybe it was a YouTube short, of some girl who went to a Korean bakery and was looking for something that wasn't sweet, and she just couldn't find it. That's kind of how it goes. Everything's gonna be a little bit sweet. That's how they do it over here. Maybe this is why I haven't done a video on this place or on Korean breads and Korean bakeries, because it just hits different, and maybe not in the best way all the time. Some things are just unnecessarily sweet in my mind, but it is what it is. This one is some kind of sesame bread. Never had this. It's just a little thing. I'm really curious about the texture of this. I think it's gonna be a little bit chewy, but it's not too heavy. Very chewy, very nice, actually. Not too embellished. There's a lot of embellishments on these breads. They kind of go OTT. That's how it goes over here. Simple bread, white bread. I mean, you can find it, but a lot of times it's going to be, you know, milk infused white bread or something infused. They're always infusing stuff and going over the top. This is just a classic. It's more classic, I guess, than the stuff I had before. It's chewy. It's not too aggressively sweet. So I got some black sesame seeds on it. I like sesame seeds a lot. I heard they're banning poppy seeds in Korea. Or something like that. I heard about they're like banning everything bagels or some stupid crap like that, but you know, it is what it is. This is good. I don't know exactly how I would eat this usually, but the thing with Korean bread is pretty much all of it is meant to be a standalone, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not your classic like white breads, or like some bread is made for sandwiches or whatever, but a lot of it is made to just eat by itself. Case in point, this one has the whole damn kitchen sink on it. This is pretty ubiquitous. I think most, well, any bakery over here in Korea that's worth its salt, is that the saying? I don't know. We'll have something like this. Very crazy patterns here. There's a lot of stuff. There's sausages in there, little sausage pieces. There's corn, other things, mayo, other sauces. I don't even really know. It's an amalgamation, and when you take a bite, it'll blow your senses away the first time you try it. No cheese, unfortunately. I think that could make it a little bit better, but it almost kind of looks like some aquatic bug. That's kind of how I see it sometimes, but yeah, going in. This one is weirdly addicting. You kind of have to be in the mood for it, but even when you're not in the mood, and you take a bite, you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then you're like, oh, hold on, let me get one more bite. I'm pretty sure if you're a Korean, you probably have had this, and you probably have a special place in your heart for this thing. It's a weird texture, it's very soft, the bread, but the corn, and there's something like seeds or beans or something, which give it that's a bean. That just give it a weird texture because you don't expect it. You don't expect these little things to be chewing on. Again, with the sausage, just like this one, I prefer this. That is what I would recommend. Now the croquette, you could say this is, I don't know, where did this originate? I saw this a lot in Japan. But it's basically this like bread that's filled with this Korean meat and noodle mixture that I will show you, hopefully. So, I'm not sure if you can really see what's going on there. It's pretty dark in there, but this is good. I like this. It's not probably the least sweet one so far, besides this. Although you can't completely avoid it. It's always lingering in the background. The sweetness, but it has a really good flavor, texture. It's very interesting, you know? You just don't really see this that much in the States, this kind of thing. All right, red bean paste filled bread. Got some what looks like sesame seeds on top. And let me just break this one open for you. A lot of you guys who don't know about Korean food might be like, I just think this is gross because it's not just red bean paste, it's sweet red bean paste. Very sweet. This one, I mean, yeah. I feel like it's a pretty pleasant taste overall, especially if you don't know what it is. And someone said it was some kind of like fruit, like prune kind of just, not jam, but what would you call this? It's pretty thick. Like kind of like a paste or a mash. If you didn't know what it is, I think a lot of people might actually enjoy this. It's not bad at all. It's just that it's kind of weird when you think about what you're eating. Just because, you know, it's one of those psychological things. Beans, sweet beans in a bread, mashed up, purple. Yeah, but this isn't a real OG. Real OG. Some of this stuff, I mean, probably at least like this, you could find it other places too, like even the convenience store probably. Now this one looks pretty damn good to me. This one kind of just looks like a something that you might see at an American bakery. It's a very crumbly Strucel bread, and I expect a lot from this. Actually, not gonna lie. I like things like this with a little bit of texture, that crumb texture. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is really good. The texture is so nice. You can see how fluffy, maybe not fluffy, but just, you know, like solid. It's pretty fluffy, but pretty dense. It's like in the middle of fluffy and dense. What does that even mean? I don't know, but it's, what does that mean? Yeah, what the hell? But that crumb on top, mixed with this kind of just plain Jane white breadish type of deal in here, it really works for me. Crumbles. This right here is sweet, not overly sweet, but sweet in the ways that I want to eat a sweet bread. Or, you know, yeah. And again, I gotta reiterate, a lot of this stuff doesn't look like bread, but in Korean there's one word for all these things. It's bang, which is bread. I'm making a damn mess. Got the new table, loving Loving it. My light is still on the way, so things might look a little bit fishy for a while. But this one, actually, I have the receipt. This one is called Soboru, I believe. Soboru. And, it's just good. This is really good. Maybe my favorite thing out of everything. Honestly, I'm gonna eat this whole thing, I think. Out of everything we have here, I think most of these are made in store, in-house. Like they have a little, bakery part in the back of the store. But some of these are pre-made and shipped to the bakery. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but my style. Anyway, if I were you, I would definitely check out some Korean bakery while you're here. Maybe Paris Baguette, maybe a local one, maybe another chain. There no affiliation with Paris Baguette. Still unsullied from sponsorship since 1989. The thing is, it's just so ingrained, I feel like, with Korean culture. Even though it's not really Korean, it's like kind of Korean fusion. Like they took bread, like, all right, let's put our own twist on it. And then they came up with this. Some water crustaceans from, 70 million years ago. And putting some like savory noodle meat dish into this. Yeah, but there might be some crazier ones too. These, like I said, these are just all the classics handpicked by an actual Korean person. I'm gonna go down the line, take one more bite of everything. Yeah, those little like donut things that you might get at a Chinese restaurant, maybe. Somewhat similar to that, I feel like. It's weird, but it's good. It just hits. It hits different, man. So, yeah, dude, I used to work this bakery. When I was 16. And I actually worked there again when I was 22. One of the worst jobs in existence. It was connected to this little natural food store. I've talked about this before, but I'm not gonna call out anybody specifically. But I burned bridges with them. I'll just tell you that much. One day I just walked out and just quit and never returned. Which is a very kind of immature thing to do, but just, I was so fed up. I think I do have a problem with authority, but especially that kind of authority. Let me tell you, one of the breaking points was when, like, it was like the owner's sister's friend came in. I'm in the back with my superiors, all the bosses, the owners and stuff. And she's like, oh, I think I stepped in something. And I look and she's like, oh, what is that? Looking at the bottom of her shoe, brown stuff. Don't know what it is. And they're like, wipe it off. I was like, hold on a second. What is it? I mean, is it dog poop? Is it dirt? I mean, what are we talking about here? I don't know. I'm not just going down to smell it. I'm not sniffing it. But with my owners right there giving me the glare stare. These owners, you don't want to cross them. Actually, one of them you can. Was nice, but the other one is the opposite of that. And so he was sitting there like, oh, you better. So I freaking wiped whatever this stuff off the bottom of this their friend's shoe. And completely degraded. And ever since then, I've never been the same. Instant switch. Every time I walked in there, it was with a vengeance. This place was sketch. I think I have talked about it in a video before, but there's like dead mice in the basement. The grungiest, dingiest of basements. Everyone hated it. Basically, they're employing like the college kids and the high school kids. Everyone hated it. We'd all talk so much smack behind the owners' backs. Everyone hated the bosses. Everyone, or the boss, the one, that unlikable one. Oh wow. I don't really have any like specific things. I mean, there's nothing too juicy, like dramatic, but one day I just had to do it halfway through the shift, just getting ordered around, and I was looking around. I'm like, this ain't me. Clocked out, left. Didn't say a word to anybody. Didn't answer no phone calls. I don't know if I got the check. Probably not. Didn't want it. Didn't need it. I did need it, but you know. And that was the last time I ever worked for like as an employee. I've done other like online schemes. I did like private tutoring stuff, just anything, because I didn't want to like that. And then other places where I worked where I had bosses, like Best Buy. Not for me. So, you know, at the end of the day, maybe I wouldn't have realized that path wasn't for me if I didn't try it in the first place, because, you know, if it wasn't for that experience, then maybe I wouldn't be here right now, and I would still be working for the man instead of zigging it. You know, I'm extremely lucky and everything to be able to do this, but, you know, I've done a lot of other just gig work online, stuff like this before I found something that actually worked. But YouTube was my ultimate dream. I'm straying very far away from what am I even, what? But the point is, you know, you just never know until you do know. And then when you do know, then you can do something about it. God, I got a lot of stuff on the brain right now. Sorry if I'm all over the place, but I'm about to skate out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.